Right. Okay. Hello YouTube, this is D.B.T Gaming Show. Episode 27. And today, I'm going to be reviewing Sonic and the Sacred Rings for the Nintendo Wii. Now after playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Xbox 360, I was quite annoyed about the Sonic series being kind of bad. But when I played Sonic and the Sacred Rings, I was quite pleased with my experience. It was a very good game. Before it was called Sonic and the Secret Rings, the game was called Sonic Wildfire, and I have to admit that name was cooler. I don't see why they changed it to Secret Rings, so personally I preferred if they kept it as Wildfire. But what you gonna do? Anyway, let's start this review off. Right, here we go. Now, the storyline for Sonic and the Sacred Rings, it's okay, but it's not that good at all. Basically, you start the game off, Sonic's in a library reading a book about the Arabian Nights. And whilst he's reading this book, this genie pops out and tells Sonic that the Arabian Nights world is in trouble. And basically, Sonic goes into the book to save it. The story's alright, but it's not as good as some of the other stories that Sonic has had in the past. Anyway, next let's go to multiplayer. The multiplayer for Sonic and the Sacred Rings isn't that good either. It's basically a very bad copy of Mario Party. That's basically all I can say about it. I mean, if you've played Mario Party before, you will know exactly what I mean. The multiplayer in this game is very similar, and it's very similar to Mario Party. So, if you've played Mario Party before, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, next let's move to graphics. The graphics for Sonic and the Sacred Rings are pretty good. Let me just show you some. The graphics haven't really changed much from Sonic Adventure 1, 2, or Sonic the Hedgehog on the Xbox. But Sonic the Hedgehog on the Xbox was a pretty awful game. And Sonic and the Sacred Rings is definitely better. Right, back to the graphics. As far as I'm concerned, they look pretty good. You only there's one character in this game, and that's Sonic the Hedgehog, which is okay, but it can get a little bit boring. But Sonic and all the other graphics look pretty good. Some of the cutscenes in the game can be a little bit weird though. Let me just give you an example. There are two types of cutscenes in this game. There's cutscenes that are like pages from a book. Let me just bring one up. Here we go. Well, these are the traditional cutscenes in this game, and basically that look like pages from the storybook, and they're not really that good. They're not really that good. When I see a cutscene, I usually expect something a little different. I mean, a cutscene is meant to look a little bit more like this, I suppose. I mean, this is what I call a cutscene. This is the opening from the game. And this is what I call a cutscene, really. The cutscenes in the game are more like comic books. You know, like, and you see slides and a couple of words on the screen. And they're cutscenes, but they aren't really that good. But the cutscenes these cutscenes that are in the game look really good. So maybe they should have just used those cutscenes instead of the storybook ones. So that's basically all I can say about the graphics. The graphics are all good, but the cutscenes can be a little bit strange. Okay, next I'll move on to the controls of the game. The controls of the game work pretty well. You hold the Wii remote sideways, the 2 buttons jump, the 1 button to brake, you press up to do a speed brake, down to do a time brake. These two don't do anything, A doesn't do anything, and neither does the B trigger. You may be asking how you turn in the game, where you tilt the remote left and right to make Sonic turn. If you want to do your home attack, press the jump button and shove forward. Controls are very, very simple, and they work rather well. But they do take some getting used to. I'm not kidding. It took me 2 weeks to get used to these controls. Alright, as I was saying, it took me 2 weeks to get used to these controls, and the controls are pretty good, but they take quite a bit of getting used to. So, but the controls are all good. Let's move on to music and voices. So, the music for this game, it's okay, but the big letdown, it's not done by Crush 40 anymore. Crush 40 is the band that did the music for Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Heroes. And Crush 40 is a very good band, and they do quite a lot of good game music. But Crush 40 doesn't do the music for this game, which is kind of a letdown. Most of the music's okay, but it could have been done better. Okay, let's move on to the voices of the game. The voices for this game is the 4Kids voices. Now, a lot of people don't like the 4Kids voices either. In my opinion, the 4Kids voices are okay, but they aren't as good as the original voices. Before 4Kids took over, Ryan Drummond did the voice of Sonic, and he was really, really good at it. Now there's a new guy who does the voice of Sonic. I can't really remember his name, but he's okay for a voice of Sonic, but he's not really that good. So the voices, they're okay, but they're not as good as they used to be. Anyway, YouTube, I'm very sorry, but I've run out of time. So join me in part 2 of my Sonic and the Sega Dreams review. Until then, bye-bye.